Hey guys, welcome back. On my screen today, we have a split screen of our VS Code on the left and our browser on the right for easy walkthrough. In this video, we're going to build a simple Laravel form from scratch using routes, a controller, and a blade view. If you're new to Laravel and forms confuse you, don't worry. I'll explain everything step by step and we'll make it work together. This is part one of my Laravel form series, and let's jump right into it. So on our VS Code, we are going to be building a simple contact form. The user will type their name and a message, click submit, and Laravel will receive the data using a controller. So later in this series, we will handle validation, security, and errors. But today, we are focusing only on getting the form working. So the first business for the day is to create a route. I know most of you do know how to create routes, most of you don't, but we'll walk through it together. So in order to create a route on your newly installed Laravel project, you move on to the routes directory, move on to web.php, which we are in already. Then in order to create our first route for our form, in Laravel, routes decides what happens when we or someone visits a URL. So whatever you dis whatever you make here, it eventually decides what the user sees when he or she navigates to the routes you defined here. So what am I trying to say? The first route we have here is a get request. This handles a get request, which means that when someone opens to contact in the browser, Laravel will show them a form. While the second route handles a post request. That is what happens when the form is submitted already. So we have two routes defining our contact form. The first route is to grab the form. The second route is to post the inputs after the form has been grabbed. So I hope you understand that vividly. So both routes points to a controller called form controller, which we will handle next. So now I want to show you what happens when we try to navigate to this route without our form controller. So when we go to our browser and try to navigate to contact, Laravel gives us an error. It tells us that target class form controller does not exist. So that means that we haven't yet defined our form controller class. So we can see an error, and that is normal. So now let's move over to creating our form controller class. So in order to create a form controller class, you will have to create a controller. I have created a controller already. To navigate to your controller, you move on to HTTP, move on to your app, move on to HTTP, then you can move on to controllers and see your controller. So now we have a form controller which I already created. So now let's handle this quite okay now. So first, we have to comment this. So now what's happening here right now? The show form method here, because this is a method, is a public function method. So now this show form method returns the blade view that shows the form. So it returns a view called contact, which we have in our blade file. I will show you that later. While the submit form will later process the data for you. But for now, we are returning a success message. So when you submit a form, what you will see for now will be a success message which says form submitted successfully. So now let's save this and see if our browser error gets fixed. So let's refresh. So we're seeing a form controller does not exist. Okay, so I know why that doesn't exist, because we haven't used our request. We used a request method. So let's comment this, save and refresh. Okay, we still see target class form controller does not exist. Why? Let's import our form controller into our route. I hope you are following vividly. So now we have imported our form controller into the route. We have defined the form. We have defined the form method in our form controller. Now let's import that method we have defined into our route. So now it has been imported. Let's refresh again. And now we have an empty form. So this form right here is, now we have an empty form. Laravel is actually looking for a view to display here, but we don't have a view in our contact blade yet because everything is commented out. So now let's create our blade file for our form. So now let me uncomment this for now and show you a simple form and see what happens in our browser. So now, yeah, we have a simple form, but like I said earlier in the video, we need a form that can type a message and submit. So let's tweak this form a bit right now. So now we have the input. So let's just dive right into it ASAP and see what happens. So first let's create a div. So you can notice I'm not using shortcuts. I'm not using any VS Code extensions. I will give you some extensions we can use later on to enable fast typing and such. So now let's get this done quickly. So that is for the, so let's add a break, add another div, then what should be here should be our label for the message. Yeah, so the name, I mean message, yes. So now let's create the input for the message. I don't need that. So what type? Type text, name, Okay. I think we're making a mistake, so let's just correct that. That is text area. Since it's a message, we already have an area for the name, so it's going to be name message. Yeah. So that is it. So this is a text area, so should have a closing, a closing. Yeah. So now close the div, and then we have our button. So this is a simple contact form. So now let's refresh and see how that went. I think it went pretty normal, nothing much. So the action points to our contacts and the method is post, which matches our route. So this action points to contact. If you can see, it's pointing to the contact route, and the method is post. So now this CSRF line here at CSRF, it's very important because Laravel uses it for security, but we will explain it deeply in the next video. So for now, just include it like I just did. So now our form is done. So let's fill the form and see what happens. So when I enter my name, let me enter Owen. Owen is good. Click submit. Then we see form submitted successfully. So now perfectly our form is now working. The data is reaching our controller successfully. That is why we could see this success message. So in the next video, we'll explain why CSRF is X, what causes the 419 error, and how to fix it properly. So if this helped you, subscribe for the next part of this series where we'll break down CSRF and 419 error. Also, don't forget to drop a comment if you would like me to expand this project further.